You get a text message from an unknown number saying, "Meet me outside now." The text message came through as Jason was about to turn off his phone and head to bed. The message was brief, chilling in its simplicity: "Meet me outside now." The sender was listed as an unknown number, but Jason didn't recognize the area code. He hesitated, fingers hovering over the screen. It was probably a prank, but something in the cold brevity of the message unsettled him. He looked out the window into the darkened street below. Everything seemed still. Maybe it was just a coincidence that the message arrived at this hour. But curiosity gnawed at him. He grabbed his jacket and went downstairs, leaving the front door ajar behind him. The chill of the night air was sharp against his skin as he stepped onto the porch. He scanned the empty street, dimly lit by the solitary street lamp at the corner. No one was in sight. Jason checked his phone again. No new messages. He was about to head back inside when he noticed something glinting in the gutter by the sidewalk. It was a small silver object, half buried in the leaves. He walked over, kneeling to pick it up. It was an old-fashioned key, intricately carved, with a small, ornate handle. His phone buzzed in his hand, causing him to jump. It was another text from the same unknown number: "You have the key. Now go to the door." A knot tightened in his stomach. What door? There were no doors in sight. Just his house and the neighboring homes. Jason's mind raced as he glanced around. Then he remembered an old, abandoned house 2 blocks away, one he'd never dared to approach. The door there had been boarded up for years. The text buzzed again: "Hurry." With growing trepidation, Jason began to walk briskly toward the abandoned house. As he approached, he saw the faintest glimmer of moonlight reflecting off the keyhole of the old door. His breath hitched. This was absurd, but something compelled him to try. He inserted the key into the lock. To his astonishment, it turned with a satisfying click. Jason took a deep breath, mustering all his courage as he pushed the creaking door open wider. The darkness inside seemed to pulse with an almost tangible malevolence. He stepped cautiously into the room, his phone's flashlight casting jittery beams across the dilapidated interior. The room was empty, save for a dust-covered table and a single chair facing away from him. He approached the chair, his footsteps echoing ominously. As he reached the chair, the floorboards groaned beneath him. He hesitated, then slowly turned the chair around. The face that greeted him was not the old man he expected, but a mirror image of his own face, frozen in a mask of terror. Jason blinked, confused. He reached out to touch the reflection, but the face in the chair seemed to flinch, its eyes wide with a terror that mirrored his own. Suddenly, the room around him began to warp and shift. The walls seemed to close in, the light from his phone flickering and dimming. A cold breeze swept through the room, and the old house seemed to groan and shift, as if it were alive. Jason stumbled back, heart racing, as a chilling voice filled the space. "Welcome to the trap, Jason." Jason spun around, trying to locate the source of the voice. The room was changing, its familiar contours giving way to something unrecognizable. He realized, with growing dread, that he was no longer alone. Shadows began to coalesce into forms, distorted figures with hollow eyes, whispering in unison. In a panic, Jason grabbed the key and ran, pushing through the darkening maze of the house. He could hear the whispers growing louder, more insistent, closing in on him. He finally burst through a door he hadn't noticed before and stumbled into a dimly lit room. Inside, an array of old, dusty mirrors lined the walls. The light from his phone revealed a final, ominous message scrawled across one mirror: "The one who sends the message must stay." Realization hit Jason like a cold wave. The room was not just a trap, it was a prison for whoever was trapped in the house. His phone buzzed one last time, and he saw the final message: "The door is not for you." Jason's heart pounded as he tried to find an escape, but every door he opened led him back to the mirror room. The whispers grew louder, almost deafening. His reflection in the mirrors seemed to mock him, repeating his every move with a sinister glee. Desperate, Jason turned his phone off to conserve the battery, plunging the room into near darkness. The whispers became a cacophony of voices, and the shadows around him seemed to writhe and dance. He slumped against the mirror, his breath ragged, as he realized he was trapped in a cycle with no escape. The last thing he saw was his own terrified reflection in the mirror before the room went completely dark. The echoes of the whispers faded, leaving him in an oppressive silence. Jason was now a part of the house's grim collection, a new prisoner in a place that defied escape, while the outside world moved on, oblivious to his fate.